Favorite color?
Black, as in humor.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I was born in Niagara Falls, New York, but my family moved to Memphis when I was 5 years old. This was in 1960. So we got to experience the South at a time when the South was a very ugly place in many ways, and we saw many ugly things happen. We saw whites only signs on bathrooms, and we saw the colored family down the street practically driven from their house. So it was an ugly time. But I fell in love with Memphis, especially when I moved from Raleigh, where I grew up, to the city itself, and learned about the cultural history of the city, especially its music. I fell in love with music in the 60s, and then Memphis music maybe a little later than that. And I think there's this eccentricity to Memphis, eccentric artists in every medium that I love. You know, there's the famous Jim Dickinson and Mudboy and the Neutron story about when they could have made it bigger, and a representative from New York was sent down to talk to them, and they gave them Jimmy Crossway to talk to. The point being, they didn't want to be a huge New York success. They were an eccentric, almost underground Memphis success. And there's a certain modesty to Memphis artists like that that I really respond to. And so I love my city. I couldn't imagine living anyplace else. There's a right-wing cabal who are trying to Shanghai the country in an ugly direction, and that's present in Memphis too. But no, I don't think Memphis is worse than any place. I think in so many ways it's better. For those who don't know, I suffer from agoraphobia, which means literally fear of the marketplace. For my life, it means I can't go out into the world comfortably. I'm normally comfortable in my house, except when camera crews invade. I'm normally comfortable in my bookstore as long as I don't have to talk to too many people. Other than that, it takes some thinking and some planning to go out into the world. So I don't travel beyond the city ever. The job of a novel writer is to tell the story, and hopefully the story has enough weight to it that after reading it sticks with you a little bit and maybe says something about how we live today. I think it's my least autobiographical book. I don't think there's much of me in Ballad of Two Time Wars. If I had to take a character out of it and say a little bit of my soul is in this character, I would choose the sheriff. The sheriff, I think, ends up being sort of the hero of the book, a sort of unlikely hero. He's an overweight lawman with a promiscuous wife, and he falls in love with a high school student. So, not exactly your purest hero, but like I say, I think Ballad of Two Time Wars, it's a comedy. It's a dark comedy. So I think of it as sort of this cartoonish take on Southern sex novels. I think it's Erskine Caldwell crossed with The Simpsons. It's almost one interesting sex act per page, I hope. I hope that it condones and encourages casual sex, because I believe wholeheartedly in casual sex. Yes, I think it's too racy. Yes, I think I'll hear that over and over. even some of my best readers said it was too racy.
We'll see beyond that.
No. Most of my readers aren't going to be smart enough to see beyond that. No, Southerners, I think, are going to fall in with it because they'll understand that its predecessors are books like Confederacy of Dunces. Not one of my favorite books, but I think it falls into that vein, that sort of outrageous Southern rascal stories. Flannery O'Connor, for instance. Like I say, it's cartoonish, but that's what we're used to in Southern literature. We understand that this isn't documentary writing. That exaggeration is part of Southern humor, all the way back to Mark Twain and before. The Ballad of the Two Tom Moores has a lot of sex in it, but it's funny. I think of a lot of my sexual exploits in my book, which I catch some flack for. I think of them as cartoons. I think of them more as Charlie Brown having sex would be about about as realistic. So Ballad of the Two Tom Moores, what I hope you take away from it is a couple of belly laughs and a feeling for a really strange, small town, surrealistic environment. Yes, I think Tom Moore is my funniest book, and I know I'm going to get some disagreement on that because there's too much sex in it, and sex isn't funny to some people. To me, it is a very funny book. I think on almost every page, I think it has a chuckle, and that's not easy. I do like to inject humor into all my books, and my favorite compliment on anything I've written ever is, "That was really funny." I like it better than, "Gee, you sound like Kafka." I like to be told that I'm funny. Yeah, let's say that that's true. The second Tom Moore, you have to read the novel to find this out. Second Tom Moore comes to this small town of Pono, Arkansas, and spoils basically the first Tom Moore's life simply because now he's not the only Tom Moore. So he's an old Southern guy set in his ways who sort of has this little life set up where he doesn't have to put forth much effort. And he gets discombobulated by this second Tom Moore, who comes in bringing in what is magic from the big city in the form of VHS tapes to rent